All right. Well, welcome to our Feis Ile prep tasting. You guys know, Feis Ile hits next month and late next month and into June, the early part of June. So excited for that. I've never been to Feis Ile, so I need to get there one of these days, and I will. Until then, we've collected quite a few Feis Ile bottlings over the years. This is another tasting that's been like 3 or 4 years. Actually, I think 4 years when I got the first Feis Ile bottling. 4 years in the works. So I've been planning this one for a long time. Like most of our tastings, I'm excited, but quite honestly, it's probably one of the ones I've most anticipated. Super excited to put this one on for everyone. So we'll get started. I'll throw this in the chat. The first one we're going to do is the Bruichladdich Rock'ndaal. And so this one is actually, I was surprised. I thought this was all Bruichladdich from the first time I tried this, which was during the Feis Ile a couple years back. Didn't realize it's actually it's a blend of Bruichladdich, Port Charlotte, and Octomore. So yeah, I will give my excuse that I was drinking pretty heavily that day. So the last time I had this, but so this one's coming in right at 50%, just like your standard Bruichladdich does. The majority of this blend is going to be bourbon barrels, and this was from 2022's Feis Ile. So this had a total release of 2,500 bottles. And let's get into it. Whoa. This is hitting way harder than 50% for me right now, which is, I don't know if I'm the only one. My palate's been real sensitive lately. I don't know why. Kyle, what's going on, man? What's up, Beth? I didn't see you sneak in here.
Hey, what's up, man? We're just getting set up here. What are y'all starting with?
What's up, John?
Hi, nice to see everybody.
Hey, welcome to join. I just met John last weekend, so he's joining for the first time.
What dram are y'all on, Nanda?
Rock'ndaal, Bruichladdich Rock'ndaal.
Okay.
I'm throwing the I've really got to get better about knowing where the chat's at. There it is. Okay, I just threw the lineup in the chat so you guys can see. It'll be Bruichladdich first, and then we're going to move to Bunnahabhain after this. This one's a little bit mustier than I remember. What are you guys thinking about this? I'm assuming at least some of you have had this before. I will give you guys, how about I give some Feis Ile notes? I actually did some work on this one. So Feis Ile, for those of you who don't know, began back in the mid 1980s. I want to say it was like 85, 86, if I remember correctly. So when this started, it was just meant to be like a festival to introduce Islay to people who were traveling. It wasn't really much about the whiskey. In the 2000s, that's when the distilleries really got involved. And then over time, it kind of progressed in what we know today. Each distillery has their own day and, major celebrations all around the island. So it's somewhat relatively new, Feis Ile, in comparison to Scotland, I guess. So that's kind of fun. And has anyone ever here been to Feis Ile? No? Okay.
Steve, you're muted. So is it like a festival?
It is a festival, yes.
Okay.
It's a festival with a lot of drinking and a lot of well-natured partying, we'll say.
Are the Feis Ile bottlings only available like at the festival, or?
So these used to only be available at the distilleries. Like the Caol Ile we're going to drink was distillery release only. Over time, they started releasing these online, especially with COVID. So since COVID, they've always been available, not just at the distilleries. I will say the one big difference will be Ardbeg when we get to that. Ardbeg's always released their Feis Ile bottlings throughout the country, for everyone. It's just their committee release that they do. So those are the Feis Ile bottlings for Ardbeg. So those have always been kind of available everywhere. But yeah, a few of these are the Caol Ile, the Lagavulin. Sorry, I should back up and say Ardbeg and Laphroaig both kind of fall in that category that they've released everywhere always. The Cairdeas bottlings are the Laphroaig Feis Ile bottlings.
Nando, how do you spell Feis Ile?
Feisile. So it's two words.
Oh, you're talking about the Feis. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Nando, you said this first one was Bruichladdich, Octomore, and who else?
Port Charlotte. So it's a blend of all three. It has to be Bruichladdich dominant because neither of the Octomore or Port Charlotte are big in this. I would assume. I don't think it's an even blend, but it is a blend of all three. And again, I think this one's bourbon barrel. Raj, looking clean cut, my friend.
How you guys been? Been a long time, man. It's glad to be back. Glad to be back.
Welcome back, sir.
Yeah. I was looking too much like Cheech Marin there, so I had to shave it,
There you go, bro. Yeah, this one is a majority bourbon barrel blend.
So not recognizing the name at first. I'm sorry. Yes, I've been there and I'm going again. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, John, that's what you told me last weekend. That's where you picked up Event Horizon, right?
Yes, that's right. You remember. Yeah.
Lucky man.
Do they normally do a single release per brew or distillery, or do they do multiples? And the reason I'm asking, Nando, is I noticed our Christmas dram from the Advent was the 2021 Feis Ile Bruichladdich. So I've got it here. I want to compare them.
It depends on the distillery. Bunnahabhain usually does multiples, but other distilleries only do singles.
Yeah. So normally singles. Benno's correct. Bunna has done multiples, and Bruichladdich has done multiples. So the year that we are tasting, they released a 1.1 and a 1.2. And so if you would have done the master class that year, they actually combined the 1.1 and 1.2 and blended those together in that master class. So the 1.2 was a Port Charlotte, and the 1.1 was was the Bruichladdich blend. Do
you happen to know? Do you happen to know why they did that? It was such an interesting thing that they in the masterclass combined them, and actually the combination tasted better than either one did by itself.
You know, it's funny. I really like the 1.2 because it's heavily sherried. I think it was just meant to. Honestly, I don't remember, but I would assume because one's a heavily bourbon barrel blend and the other one was really sherried, that it was kind of to balance each other out a little bit and see how that works, a blending standpoint. But I really like that. I like both. They're both hard to get. I just happen to have two of the 1.1 and only one of the 1.2, so that's why we're drinking the 1.1 today.
Sorry for being late. What's the order we're going in now?
I'll send it to you here. Oh. I had it in the chat before.
I just hate how Zoom doesn't preserve history.
Actually, I think a couple people joined late, so I'm going to send it just back in.
There we go. We're doing the Rock'ndaal. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to do Bunna next if you're one of those people who likes to pour out prior to tasting.
Yep. We'll grooves. Lemon gardens. All right, cool.
I did love these bottlings though. I never would have saw the multicolor because the 1-2. Has you guys seen the 1-2 before?
Nope.
Let me see if I can go grab it real quick. I think it's upstairs. Let me see. Because that one's a pretty. I honestly bought that for the bottle.
Where is everybody from?
Texas.
Orange County.
Orange County.
I'm down in San Diego, but formerly Orange County.
Ah, yeah, I'm up in the Bay Area.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Santa Monica.
I'm East Coast, Delaware.
I'm up in Washington State.
LA, San Gabriel Valley.
Ah,
Yep. LA here too. Oh, Kevin, you're on.
Hey, Benno.
Hey, there you are.
Nice seeing you.
Yep. News. There.
I did not, but I will tomorrow.
Yeah.
my earbuds are not working, so I have to listen to it out loud. So I don't know why my earbuds aren't working, but just let me know.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So Nando's getting the bottle to show us.
Yep.
Of the Rock'ndaal or what?
Yeah, I
Think
think
the
the
Rock'n'Daal.
1.2.
Yeah, the Rock'ndaal.
I Googled it, I cheated, but it is a pretty bottle.
It's a pretty bottle. I just wish it tasted a little better. It's not my jam, man. It's fun, but
Do you guys know if we're doing, if we're going to taste like, if we got the more expensive tasters, if we're going to do those also tonight?
Yeah. Afterwards, typically for those who have it, we'll stay on and then we'll drink and discuss those. Those usually a bit more of a free for all because after 6 or whatever pours, people get
Yeah.
looser.
John, there's nothing mandatory here. Drink as much as you want or as little as you want. You just want to have fun. That's all. Yeah, but Benno's right. After overtime, we'll hang out a little bit after we're done. And if you guys want to drink the add-ons, you certainly can, or you don't have to. You can save those for another day.
usually at some point during the after, he'll turn off the camera.
Yeah,
The conversation usually shifts a little bit.
Yeah.
I couldn't find the 1-2, which means it must be in a box. But the 2 I do have. So this is the 21 that you were talking about, Beth. We had this in the Advent calendar we did. I absolutely love this bottle. I think it's super cool. The one that they released too the year before that was a little more controversial, was this Port Charlotte 16. Because it wasn't official. It wasn't an official Feis Ile bottling. It was just the 16-year-old Port Charlotte. So there was nothing. I mean, it's super cool that there was a Port Charlotte 16, but there wasn't necessarily anything special about it. And I think some of the Bruichladdich heads like myself were a little disappointed in that, but I still bought it, so couldn't have been that disappointed.
I dropped a picture of the bottle in the chat. It's cool artwork on there.
Yes, I was going to just ask. Thanks, Charlie.
Yep.
And what did we, since I missed it, say about the peat levels on this and the Bunna?
So it doesn't state the peat levels on this one. We just know that it's a blend of Bruichladdich, Port Charlotte, and Octomore.
Interesting. So probably somewhere similar to the Port Charlotte range. in the end.
I would assume it's a little bit lower, probably like Rins or something like that, just because there's a lot of. I would expect this to be Bruichladdich dominant, just because. I mean, I don't get a ton of peat out of this. It's pretty light on the peat aspect to me, but I mean, anyone can feel free to disagree with me. But in my research, I didn't see a ppm anywhere.
Did you ask Derek?
No, but I can text him. He's at nth right now, so he may be a little.
Oh, yeah. So he could actually respond. I was going to say, isn't going to be asleep, but no. If he's at nth, then yeah. How come you didn't go?
Because I'm here with you. Also, I stay out of Vegas as like almost much as I can.
Yeah, but it's the nth.
Yeah, one of these days.
Oh, are you going to the nth, Benno?
Nah, I had a free ticket. I turned it down. I had other stuff going on.
I mean, it's still a great event. I don't know that it's what it was, is what I hear. Like, I have a couple friends that go each year.
Yeah, I heard it's also not. Actually, I did Fog City Social in San Francisco last week through the San Francisco Whiskey Society, and that was actually pretty epic. They had about 40 tables. Everyone had 10 to 15 whiskeys or something. I didn't even try the majority of stuff. And the coolest thing is they did like masterclass type tickets. But unlike every other place where you have to rush in an hour early and then drink it before everyone else does, they actually pour them in minis for you to take home, which I was like, you guys are fucking brilliant. And they're like, yeah, we're trying to do this right. And I kind of recommend it. It was one of the best whiskey festivals I've been to in the last few years.
Which festival was that? I missed it, and it was around my area.
Are you in the Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Fog City Social. It's through San Francisco Whiskey Society. They got a Facebook group.
Is that on Facebook? Or...
Yeah. I'm literally in the San Francisco Whiskey Society page right now. So they also have a real good
or DM you.
Yeah. And they also have a really good rare character exceptional series pick that they did with Pablo. That's 65% malt, 35% corn, which they're selling at Maison Corbeau, which is the store up in SF. Apparently, it's similar to the Parker's Heritage Blend that they recently released, and a few people have done some single barrel picks. And Lee even liked it, Nando. He was thinking about buying a bottle, and that tells you something.
There you
go.
So
now, what did you say that was? It was a pick of the San Francisco Whiskey Society?
Yep. San Francisco Whiskey Society pick. There's the
rare character who we just finalized the tasting date with today, July 28th.
So, oh, you did? Oh, nice. Yeah, it's Pablo Moy. He runs Scopa Italian Roots. It's a restaurant out in Venice on Washington Boulevard. That's fantastic. He opened Chestnut Club, Old Lightning, a couple of super high-end whiskey bars, and he's all in on rare character and his own brand now. And
Pablo and Pete.
And Pete, true.
Yes. So Pete will be joining us on that one.
No Pablo?
And maybe Pablo.
Okay.
We'll see. Let's move on to number 2. But thank you for bringing rare character up, which allowed me to plug that. I was going to do that later in the tasting, but Bunnahabhain. So this one, and funny enough, Bruichladdich and Bunnahabhain, they were both established the same year, 1881. So if you didn't know that, you should probably know that about Bruichladdich by now if you've been on our tastings before, because we've done them like 3 or 4 times. But Bunnahabhain, also 1881. They're formerly owned by Distell until Distell. They're still owned by Distell, but Distell was acquired by Heineken not too long ago, late 23. So Distell's now owned by Heineken. This one does not give a percentage of blend or an age statement, but we do know that small XPX octave casks were combined with Oloroso and bourbon matured spirits to create this. And so I'm interested to get into this to see, if the PX is dominant or if there's one of those is a little more dominant than the other. These were a pretty pricey when they were released. I think they were around 180 pounds at Feis Ile, and then they wound up in Total Wines for like around 160, 170, if I remember correctly. So, and I know there's a few Total Wines that still have these out there. Well, very different from the Bruichladdich.
Oh, that's really
You're gonna have to give the password for that one.
Yep, hold on. I am putting it in the chat. There you go. There's the password. You can get it. So that's an interesting nose on the Bunna.
Yeah.
I mean, Rock'n'daal's always delicious, but this one, Right, Andy? I'm not a fan of the nose.
What's interesting is this gives like more like port vibes to me than either one of PX or Oloroso.
Yeah, definitely on the nose, you get it hints at a port nose. That's fair.
What did they say about this one, Nando? Was supposed to be the blend?
The blend of Octave PX cast, Oloroso, and bourbon.
Yeah,
they don't tell you the makeup of the blend, and we know that it's a Nas.
And all unpeated?
I am assuming so based off of the taste. Did not say when I looked it up. Although, and then this was a Feis Ile 22, which I think may be in the chat. I don't remember if I added that or not.
It's on the label.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I don't get the milk chocolate or raspberries that they get. Interestingly enough, they put a balsamic vinegar note on this. That's great.
Does anybody get black licorice?
Yeah, I can see a bit of that.
I could see that. Faint, like not like a big black licorice note, but very faint.
Nice light peat.
So Nando, I'm curious. So like, you get a little bit of the port cask influence notes now that we've had them ahead towards the mid-late palate on it. But I wonder if that's the sherry then being in the octave kind of giving you that odd twist on it like that. I don't know.
Could be. Smaller casks, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely has finishes with like a spice note, like a baking spice note for me.
Did find the our Scotch review of this one. Doesn't say anything there about, but the price on it apparently is pretty good, right? For West.
Like, yeah, 160, 170 from Total Wine. You can find them. Comparatively to what we're drinking tonight, I think it's the cheapest, well, most affordable of all the bottles. Won't say $160 cheap for a whiskey bottle, but
apparently it was 80 pounds on the website at the time.
No, I think it was like 180 pounds. That's what I was looking at. I looked up today. They said it was like 180 pounds on release.
This guy might be local.
80 pounds at release, I think it's more, you could justify it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would buy a second bottle of this. Although I will give this, the more it sits in the glass, the more I'm kind of digging it. So I'm contemplating if I should add a little bit of water to see if I like it. Did anyone add water yet? I see Kevin's going for it, so maybe I'll let him do that first.
Didn't really improve it.
All right, fair enough.
I'm not usually a water my whiskey down kind of guy.
All right, either am I. That's but I was. It gets creamier the longer that now that's sat for a couple minutes. I get more cream textures to this, but I like that part about it. But still not probably not going to be my favorite of the night.
Was the licorice on the nose or the taste?
On the palate for me.
On the palate.
Yeah, it's that's. I don't know if it's black. It's something.
It was really strong my first taste, and now it's kind of gone away a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been more in the volatiles,
right? And letting it sit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's no Rock'ndaal, that's for sure.
No.
Yeah, I was thinking that it was the 21 release. I looked at the name, but it's not. It's like a lighter version of the 2021 release. When the same time they released the 12-year cask strength was the Aonad. I don't know how to pronounce it. Seems like a lighter. To me, it tastes like a lighter. I don't know if any of you guys have had that. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, I've seen it before. I think.
Yeah,
we might have had it in the Buna tasting, didn't we?
I think so.
That was a while. That was about a year ago. I'll go look.
Let's see if I can find. Is this the one you're talking about?
Because that 12-year cask strength was pretty good. That was good. The first release.
You're talking about
strengths are solid for sure.
The Bunnahabhain 12-year-old cask strength?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree. That was good.
Now, if only I could remember when we did Bunnahabhain. 22, I think.
Execs Bunnahabhain?
Yeah, it was 22, I believe. Hold on, I'm getting there. Ben Nevis. I think I remember being the same year we did Ben Nevis.
Let's see if I spell this right. April or your Bunnahabhain set that was sent in May 2022.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so that means January 22.
So sometime, yeah, the Bunnahabhain sets hadn't shipped on May 5th, so it's sometime after that.
You keep some accurate notes, my friend.
No, I just searched my email. I don't. Yep. I don't see another email about it.
I may be wrong. We had the limited releases. We didn't have the Feis Iles in that tasting.
Yeah, no, that's the one I'm talking about. The limited release. It was
yeah, the purple one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that one I also wasn't I wasn't a huge fan of that one, actually. I thought that one was a little harsh. But yeah, I see the similarities. I would say I probably like this one more. So probably because it's what you're talking about, because it's lighter than that one is. That's why I like it more.
Oh, okay. If this is what I think it is, the R Scotch thread that I posted to you guys does have a comment from Brendan, the master distiller of Bunnahabhain. His handle's Complex Certain. So if you see that username, that's the guy who, well, apparently distilled whiskey.
I think
both
Brendan
Unos
is leaving.
and Tobermory.
What's that?
He's a master distiller for both for Buna and Tobermory.
He says, I do not like octaves, so that's why I use PX octaves in small amounts and married it with much more traditional Oloroso cask and a bit of bourbon. Has been a winner with a lot of people, and the people who weren't as happy had expected a big PX hit, which is a communication mistake, which is on me in response to the review comments.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I went into this not expecting anything, so although I did see the the blend before, but and for this tasting, outside of I have had the Rock'ndaal before and the Laphroaig before. Everything else I've probably had the grooves at some point. I just don't remember it. But I'm kind of going into this blind with you guys because I was excited to taste these with you. So I'm going to move to number 3, Caol Ile. And I think, if I remember correctly, this was the first Feis Ile bottling outside of a car chase that I'd ever had. This was the one for me. I was dedicated in someday doing a Feis Ile tasting or Feis tasting.
Yeah, it's funny. I never even realized Cairdeas was a Feis Ile bottling.
Yeah.
I just thought it was their special annual release.
Whoa. Very interesting nose on this bad boy. Okay, so this was a 2017 release of Caol Ile. Caol Ile, as we know, is Diageo owned. Evil Empire owns also Lagavulin. And FYI, that Lagavulin, I smelled it. Haven't tasted it yet. Smelled amazing. For those of you that got the add-ons, but sorry, that's a little later in the day. Okay, so this was it's a 12-year-old cask strength, bottled 2017, specifically selected by Eddie Thom, who's the distillery manager at Caol Ile. Bottled at 55.8, so it's a little bit higher ABV than what we've been drinking. Nothing we're drinking today is like over the top high ABV, but this was double matured in Amoroso caskwood, so finished in Amoroso, and then this was initially aged in American wood.
Did you say Amoroso?
Yes, Amoroso sherry, correct. And Amoroso sherry is a specific type of sherry bottled for shit, I looked it up yesterday because I had no idea what Amoroso sherry was.
El Maestro Sierra.
Correct.
Huh, it's a blend of Oloroso and PX.
Yeah. I saw I read up on a couple blogs on this one. This seemed to be like the fan favorite of 2017 fish, and so I'm excited to get into this one. The nose on this is super funky to me, like in a pleasant way, though.
Why do you think it's funky?
I don't know. It smells like sweet motor oil to me. If that makes any sense to anyone.
I mean, motor oil generally smells sweet. Yeah, hydrocarbons.
I mean, I don't smell a lot of motor oil, but
I got like intense ashtray, like in a good way.
Ashtray?
Mm-hmm. Like smelling like you got an ashtray with like cigar ashes, like that sweet, smoky, ashy.
I get that. Yeah.
Like a really dried barbecue note on it too, like on the nose.
Get that.
I've never thought ashes smelled sweet, but okay.
Well, if you've ever had Swisher Sweets.
What's
The
that?
Nando special.
You can ask 18-year-old Nando. There's a
Were you doing shots of Mad Dog 2020 with it?
I was straight ripping Mad Dog 2020 back then, so there was some Goldschlagers and a couple other things too. So listen, I drink a lot fancier these days than what I used to, believe me.
Don't we all, man? Don't we all?
What were your friends from back then say now?
They all come to drink with me still. They like the open bar around here, so I think that's good. But
They just call you a fancy bitch now?
yeah, well, hey, none of us drink like we used to, except a couple, and those I can't hang out with very often. Ooh,
It's good.
traditional Caol Ile up front though on the palate though for me. It's really nice though.
It is
It's
nice.
not what I was expecting based off of the nose.
It's really good.
So this was the favorite whiskey of the Feis that year?
Based on the blogs I read, I mean, obviously palates are unique and every opinion's different, right? But that seemed to be or not the consensus, kind of the general sentiment that this was the overall favorite that year. So
Okay, so this makes sense. So I did a sherry tasting with Monica Moran at Winehouse with Prashanth, for those of you who know him, because we were like, we want to learn about sherry because there's a lot of sherry and, you know, scotch. And it was a 3-hour course. It's for your W set for sherry. And like an hour into it, she was like, okay, who the fuck are you two? And why do you keep asking me all the weird questions? And we're like, well, because we're here because of scotch, right? But it turned out for me, the only category I liked of all the sherry, because Oloroso was too dry. And even though I like PX finished whiskeys, the PX is like way too sweet. I mean, it's like Coke syrup when the water hasn't been added. But the best category of sherry that I found, if you were to drink sherry and say buy a bottle, was cream sherry, which is what the English did, because they blended Oloroso super dry with PX super sweet, and you get something that's balanced, right? Not too sweet, not too dry. And the Amoroso is basically the Spanish version of a cream sherry. So that's why I think it's got the nice sort of sweet balance note and finish on this one.
Why cream?
That's interesting.
Kevin, did you say something?
Why cream?
Why cream? What? It's just what they called it. It's just the general name for blended between dry and sweet cherry.
I see. So there's no actual cream.
No. That's just, they call it cream sherry. That's the English name. And if you look up Amoroso, it's basically the Spanish version of English cream sherry.
I mean, if you maybe drink too much, there might be. You never know, but
Jesus Christ.
I'm glad you mentioned the finish. I really enjoyed this finish.
Yeah.
This is really nice.
How many more bottles you got left?
Every single of these outside of the Rock'ndaal is a 1 of 1, my friend.
Mm.
Yeah, this is nice though. Yeah.
That's a lie. Sorry. I do have a backup of the car chase as well.
Well, that's Cairdeas, so.
Yeah, that one's but that there someday we've never done a Laphroaig tasting. And someday I want to do a car chase tasting one of these days. So I have a few for that, and so maybe I bring that 200th, or my 40th birthday is coming up, so maybe we crack it for that. One of the two.
I will mention James from New York from Pure Malts is an SF.
Yeah,
and apparently he bought all 13 of the single cask Laphroaigs that were available last year. He showed me the photo of them, and he's going to do a tasting at some point.
Yeah, that guy. I don't know where the guy keeps all of his stuff. He has a lot of stuff though.
He's an SF now. He was at Fog City.
He moved to SF?
Yeah, he moved to SF. So that's good for us, because that means there may be some more West Coast specific stuff. Because like that Bowmore tasting he did with all the single casks, like that would look sick.
Yeah.
He has all 13. That I thought I was special because I could track down 4.
Nope, he has all 13.
Holy shit.
Yep.
I mean, we could have gotten all 13. I just didn't want to commit the dollars to that. That's a lot of money.
Right.
It's a lot of money.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I did get the one from Hops and Scotch this year, and I did get Simon to sign it. So that was actually pretty cool.
There you go.
So Hops and Scotch has this on their shelf?
No. Sorry. This is a Caol Ile. We're talking about Laphroaig. Sorry, got distracted. And Hops and Scotch has a single barrel Laphroaig on their shelf at the store available. That's all.
Well, how much do they charge for a dram?
Well, I don't know. They sell the bottles.
They said at Hops and Scotch, and is that in Walnut Creek?
Yeah, that's in Walnut Creek. Yeah.
I didn't know they sold bottles there.
Yeah. Well, they got a single cask, and they're selling the bottles of this single cask. It's a special bottling for the bar, basically, and they'll sell it to you. Yeah.
John, that's your city, bro. How are you gonna let?
Yeah, man, right.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
do they ship?
you can probably go try the bottle there, John, and then if you like, you can buy it.
Oh, very nice. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. Gonna write that down.
It's really good. We had it at Fox City next to Laphroaig 25. It's really good.
So I'm not usually the biggest Caol Ile fan, but I really enjoy this one.
Yeah. Well, seriously,
I
we would like to have words with you, Nando.
No. I like Caol Ile, but it's not usually my favorite. It's usually just good. It's never bad. I usually don't ever find a bad Caol Ile. Just never anything that surprises me or really super excites me. But this one's really good.
What do you think of the Stichel Reserves?
I do like those because I think they're fun because they're non-peated and it's just not what they do normally. That I think we did the 13 or 15 year. The one that's really high ABV, like 63%. I really enjoy that one.
Yep.
Nando, I usually really love like young, cask strength Caol Iles, especially independent bottles, because there's a lot of meaty flavors, and some of them, like can be safe, but a lot of them have some funkiness to it. Like,
yeah,
I liked the nose on this one. This one, the funk, I almost think it needs a little time to settle down. It was tasty, but and I like odd notes.
So wait, hold on, James. Let me ask this, because for me, if I was to say, like, honestly, of all the Islas, the one I would tell, I think most people would probably be the most approachable would be Caol Ile, because to me, I find it to be the sweetest and lightest and most floral for peat. So it's funny.
For unofficial bottlings. I mean, indies for indies or official.
Oh, I mean, I'm always generally talking indie bottlings, especially like you said, young cask strength. Like, I don't know if I would ever really think of any Caol Iles I've tasted where I thought it was funky or meaty or anything. That's interesting.
I can send you a couple bottle links then to try.
Okay, I'm curious.
Yeah, I really like the Portiskeags because those are normally Caol Ile. Portiskeag 10th anniversary edition I thought was excellent. One of my favorite, maybe my favorite from Portiskeag.
Yeah, those Portiskeags are really good. I like those, but they are a little cleaner version of Caol Ile. Say it, but I love them for what they are.
Like, this has a nice, sharp, bright sweetness up front, but like the alcohol definitely hits you, but it's just like nice and bright and clean and sweet, I think. You can say it out loud, Andy. It's okay to agree with me. Go ahead.
She doesn't want to unmute because she's 5 feet.
I'm like 10 feet away from him.
That's fine.
So it just echoes.
He muted. Go ahead.
No, it's very good. But what you said is exactly what I get. It's floral, light. I don't get a lot of peat. So I'm not a big fan of peat, so I like it a lot. This might be my favorite so far.
Yeah, especially when you go back to the Bunna. I think the Bunna has a bit more of that acrid nose on it that I associate with some of those Port Charlottes that I've talked about. You know which note I'm talking about, Nando, the urinal cake note, which I think what probably turned Andy off from it, because there's an acridity to it, which the Caol Ile definitely doesn't have on the nose. Interesting. Yeah, it's just sweet. It's nice. And I think it's that Amoroso sherry. I wonder how many other Amoroso sherry finished scotches there are.
Well,
sorry, which one are we on?
Number 3, the Caol Ile.
Oh, we're still on that. Okay.
So the funny thing is, when I saw Amoroso sherry, when I was looking this one up, I was, and we can go ahead and pour the Ardbeg, just that way we can move along. But I mean, I had no idea what Amoroso sherry was. So
right, I never heard of it either.
But yeah, so it's a blend.
So there's a Talisker Distillers Edition double matured.
Yes, correct. There is a Talisker.
Because I'm sure that came up in your search.
It did. And I think when we get to Talisker, I actually think that one is in the lineup. I'm pretty sure I have that bottle. So
Interesting. I wonder what year that was.
I think it was a couple of years ago, 1 or 2 years ago.
When is Talisker coming?
So partially, so June is now open. So I'm thinking Compass Box for June, just because they had a lot of big changes.
Mm.
And so I think it might be kind of fun just do them while those changes are pretty new and in front of our mind. And so we'll backfill Talisker later, probably, unless we say, unless everyone here says, hey, well, I absolutely want to do Talisker in June, then Talisker could fill that role. But soon, it'll be probably the second half of the year if we don't do it in June. I'm thinking Compass Box is the right move for June.
Do you have the old particular 7-year-old that Cairdeas was selling?
The
Talisker 7
bottling of Talisker? Yes, I do.
Okay, good. That way I don't have to give up one of mine, because I was going to offer it up if you didn't have it, but since you have it, we're good.
Was it good?
I
Oh,
did.
it's
It was
fantastic.
the only independent bottling I could find.
Right.
Well,
let's put it this way. It's a cask for 57%, 7-year, young, sweet, like even probably better than this, honestly, of Talisker, and they were selling it on sale for $70.
I did not get it at the $70 price range, but I wish I would have seen that.
Yeah.
It's bottled by Old Particular.
Yeah, it was a K&L, exclusive. It's all gone now.
Oh, it's all gone.
Oh yeah. They when they drive the, but we'll get to try it in the tasting.
All right, Ardbeg Grooves.
Nope.
So this is a heavy char, which is kind of what's the reason why they called this grooves. So a portion of this whiskey aged in red wine casks that were heavily charred, recharred before the whiskey was dropped in, created deep grooves in the wood, which is why they call this Ardbeg Grooves. This was a 2018 Ardbeg Day release, coming in at 51.6. So we're dropping down a little bit in ABV, but Ardbeg is usually a little bit harder on the palate, which is why I pushed this one back one. So,
wait, why do you say harder on the palate?
For some people, I feel like the peat, because the peat's more present for most people, I feel like with Ardbeg, because obviously not as maybe hard as a Laphroaig is for some people, but obviously we have different levels of palates in here, so it was just kind of how I decided to do this. So
Any idea why they call it a committee release?
they actually have a committee of Ardbeg at Ardbeg, so yeah, you can actually join the committee now and get your email in there at Ardbeg. Let's see. Here you go. Drop this in the chat.
Oh yeah, I like the nose on this.
And if you want to know about the committee, here is the link to the committee. Okay.
I have thoughts about this one, but I'll wait till other people have said their piece.
Very different nose from what we were just drinking or sampling.
I have a feeling Benno and I are going to be on opposite sides of the fence on this one.
Kyle, I get more. Those barbecue notes you brought up on the last one, I get more of that on this.
I think this is actually my favorite one of the night so far, which I don't know is going to be a popular opinion.
That's good. More for you.
If you like drinking grass trimmings, then you love this whiskey.
There we go.
It's
I mean, I
lovely
happen
to-
to really enjoy grass trimmings, so this is really nice.
uh,
I actually get a lot of citrus on the back end of this one. A citrus pop on the finish.
I wish the ABV was a little higher. Like I could use a little more heat, but I really like the flavor of this.
Really?
You know, you might be in the minority on this one.
Good. I hope so.
We're allowed to disagree, Benno. It's okay.
I was a little skeptical. I hadn't had the grooves in a while. And the one I've had has been open for a couple of years and I've never gassed it. So I was curious to try this again, kind of fresh. Because have you recently opened this, Nando?
Tasting. I just opened this. Yeah.
It's actually better than I remember, honestly. Like you said, a little bit barbecue-y. It's got some mild earthiness. It's got that, tannic, like peat at the finish. It's nice. It's good.
It's my favorite nose, but I'm not as enthusiastic about the taste and finish.
What don't you like, John?
It's the taste. It's just I like a whiskey that sort of like sweetens at the end of the taste.
Mm-hmm.
And
is it maybe the ashy bitterness on it that's maybe killing it for you?
Let me try again.
It's kind of weird how it kind of falls off at the back end.
It does fall off at the back end. I agree. I think that's, Kevin, probably what you were getting at too, why it needed a little more ABV to stick to the palate a little more.
But I'm curious, does anyone not taste like, this is the problem I've had with Ardbeg like the last few years. I mean, I don't know if I noticed it before my palate change, but like every time, and I've done like tastings of like the whole lineup, 80% of every Ardbeg I've tasted, and I mean, it's like one of my favorite distilleries and I love Jackie, but it has this ashy bitter note on the palate and I just fucking hate it. It's like someone dipped their cigar ash into the whiskey and then that's all I can taste. Like some of them don't, but most of them do. And it really kills me.
I think I'm tasting what you're tasting. I just really like that weird ashy bitter note. I think that's really what it comes down to.
So I'm glad you taste it.
Yeah.
We can disagree whether we like it, but you taste what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah, no, I don't disagree with you at all.
Yeah, it's a more standard profile on a lot of the more recent Ardbegs past few years. Like it's not traditional Ardbeg, but some finishes it works pretty well. Sometimes it's just not very good. Recent releases have been very hit or miss.
That was barbecue. I really like that.
That was good. Yeah, that was good.
And it was like Ardbeg's most affordable bottle in years.
But remember for me, I'm super sensitive to bitter, so like that's just all I taste. Right.
You're super sensitive to a lot of things,
I'm super sensitive to you, Nando.
I'm aware.
I think if someone poured this for me as the first dram of the night, I probably would have a hard time with it. I think when we, because we do these in the order that we do, I would either have to put some water in it, or because it's the fourth one in, it's a little bit easier to take on the punchiness of this from a flavor profile standpoint.
And that's why we moved it to fourth in the lineup instead of third. I initially had this as third because the Caol Ile is a little bit higher ABV, but
no.
After knowing what was the makeup of the Caol Ile, I decided to move that up one.
I'm surprised you put this before the Kilchoman. I wouldn't have ignored ABV and just gone by palate and been like, bleh.
Yeah, I almost did that. That was the other question to finish with Ardbeg Laphroaig, but I didn't want to have Ardbeg Laphroaig like back to back and then just screwing with each other. So that's why I broke it up with the Kilchoman.
Well, but I mean, that's the thing, like, right? Ardbeg to me is definitely this ashy note, and Laphroaig's more a smoky note, right? Like a fire note, right? And so totally different. And that's the thing I hate when like you talk about Islay whiskeys and you talk about peat and people say peat and smoke are the same things. And I'm like, they're fucking not. And they're literally different phenol compounds. You can actually identify this with a GCMS, but like people are like, oh no, it's peaty when they mean smoky and it's smoky when they're peat. I'm just like, Some people just need to get fucking smacked.
They're
How do you feel about
you
older
can also grow up in the whiskey game, you know, give them a chance. That's why we do these, to learn.
No, I'm talking about brand ambassadors, dude.
Oh.
Yeah.
You didn't say that, so that's
that's why we need your education, because even the brand ambassadors don't know what they're talking about.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I guess some of them are just trying to avoid overcomplicating it for newbies, but I'm like, half the time you're not talking to newbies. When you're talking to people who actually know, don't fucking like say that out loud. That's just fucking basic bitch shit.
So Benno, how do you feel about older releases? Like some of the older oogies and
No.
stuff.
See, that's the thing. Like, it's totally like someone else was saying. It's a totally new Ardbeg thing. Like the older Ardbegs do not have this ashy, bitter, like, you know, charred ash smoke or charred ash note.
Because I the Scorch, like the Scorch committee release, I didn't get that. That was decent.
And there's a couple that don't, and it's super interesting because they're obviously selecting for it some of the time and not the other times, and it's weird because I don't know if I didn't notice in the beginning, but like I definitely noticed it, and like I don't get it on other Isles.
Right. So Benno, you're pointing out a good point. You know, there's a certain Ardbeg profile from say like mid 2000s through maybe 5-7 years ago, and it kind of shifted again. And then you get to the really old Ardbegs, it's just super fruit, very finesse light, nothing like what we're tasting now at all.
Yep.
I see the chocolate finish. I get it. It doesn't have that anymore. I get what you're saying.
God, why don't they do that? Why don't they still do that? Those were so good, those older Ardbegs.
I mean, it's different, and again, you got people like Charlie who like it. So I mean, you know, they're fans.
Well, so it's the same issues that a lot of distillers are running into. If you look at the 10-year-old from, I'll say 05 through 07 and even through like early teens, often there's older stock in those.
Yeah.
Based on the time of closure and stuff like that. So just stock challenges and availability things. So that's honestly, that's kind of like the running joke. Is like, are they just doing all this kitschy stuff because they just don't have good products to put out? And some of them are good, but a lot of it's just, you can tell that there's stock challenges. That's what my best
those older vintage oogies, that's why they're so good, because they're older stock, you know, and that's plays I think a huge part in this, where I think you lose probably some of that ash maybe on those older casks where it's not as prevalent. And so probably especially with the oogies, because they have that sherry influence, so that's where you're getting a lot more of those chocolate notes that John that you're bringing up. I think that's for sure part of it. They're using, you know, they're using younger stock. So
dude, if you're an SF, the fucking W Hotel, I was there after a work event and I'm looking at the whiskey bar, I'm like, yeah, nothing. And then I'm like, which Ardbeg is that? And he pulled down like, Rock'ndaal? What? And I'm like, how much is it? He's like $15. So I just poured like a round for all 10 of us. I'm like, I don't care if you like whiskey, just fucking drink this at $15 a pour, an old oogie. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, where did you get this? Like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, okay, it's just one of those.
Been there for 10 years.
or they found it in the cellar, like, you know.
Yeah, their Corey Vrecken just hasn't been what it was a couple of years ago. The Corey Vrecken, I love that Corey Vrecken, and just in the last couple of ones I've tasted have not been up to that. Same thing, I think.
I agree.
For sure. All right, Kilchoman, make a smooth transition there. And I would probably rinse the palate a little, you know, maybe drink some water.
If water is enough, you need something like saltines or something.
Exactly. Whatever you need to do to get the palate ready. What did I screw up? Oh no, this is right.
Maybe it's just what we're coming off of. The nose on this is like so light and bright in comparison.
I guess maybe it's not so bad to have this in between this and the Laphroaig to kind of break it up. And this
you can see what my thinking was. I would assume this is bigger on the palate than it is on the nose. Charlie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is delicious.
This is the biggest one.
56.3. This is the highest ABV I think we're drinking tonight. Yep.
Doesn't
Or,
drink
of the core.
I might like this better than the Caol Ile.
Ooh. Well, these bottles were freaking expensive, so it better be good. By far the most expensive release price. By far the most expensive release price. Oh. I'm not getting a ton on the nose on this. Maybe I'm still getting attacked by that Ardbeg.
Don't you have any coffee beans?
I don't drink coffee, so no, but
You should just keep a jar around. If anyone doesn't know, if coffee beans are really good for resetting the nose.
So what do you do? Just fill it up?
What's that?
And then, Bino, so what do you do? Just fill up a jar?
Yeah,
and
no,
just
a glass, keep it covered, and then just sniff it in between. It's just, I don't know why, I haven't looked into it, but like if you talk to any distillers or people who are really into whiskey and stuff, they're like at bars, they'll just have coffee beans in a jar just to reset their palate. They do it at like the whiskey competitions and stuff.
If you go
Really?
into a department store and they're spraying perfume, they'll have you smell coffee beans to
Perfumers, but yeah.
reset your
Really?
nose.
I've never seen that, but then again,
Wow.
I'm like wandering the perfume
Interesting.
aisle. So there you go.
don't lie, Benno.
Yeah, I'm trolling the perfume aisle, sure.
Probably across the board then for wines
Yep.
or anything else then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
See,
not
this
to
is
bring
this
this
is
back.
why I joined. So you're gonna pick up
There you
something
go.
new every day.
Exactly.
This is the
Steve,
best one.
what
so
have you
far.
liked so far?
You know, it's the very first one. I mean, I just fell in love with that one. First of all,
Rock'n'daal,
I
dude.
like Bruichladdich, but that one was really good. Just from a taste and just a bold taste. That one I really like.
All right. I like it. That has some Octomore in it, and that's a big boy too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely Rock'n'daal, Caol Ile, and Kilchoman currently.
I am really liking this Kilchoman. The release price was like right around $300. For those of you that know Brett Perkins, he used to run OC Scotch Club. I don't know if he still does or not, but he posted this. It was on sale for like $270 or something like that a few months ago at some LA store. So I bought it because we didn't have a Kilchoman. It was literally the last one we needed for this tasting. So this is the last one we got.
I mean, it's good, but if you were to blind this with like 6 other Kilchomans and like Alec over there has a whole bunch on the bar right behind him, like this is not worth what that costs, right?
No.
Like it's a lot of other Kilchomans for half the price or less that are just as tasty.
It is good though.
It's good.
The barrel I bought.
Wait, the what?
Said the barrel I bought.
Wait, what barrel?
I'm pretty sure you have a couple bottles of it at El Cerrito.
That bottle. Yeah.
Our 100% Isla Kilchoman pick. Oh, also that reminds me. Sorry, I forgot to give you guys the in-depth information. So these are 8 100% Isla casks. 2 are 2011 Oloroso sherry butts and 6 2012 bourbon barrels. These are all because these are 100% Isla. You know they're 20 ppm.
What are you talking about? What
the cask used in this Kilchoman. So there was 2,800 bottles available roughly of this bottle, and so they used two Oloroso butts and 6 bourbon barrels to make up this blend.
Yeah. So the 2 Olorosos are about 500-ish each. That's 1,000. That leaves 1,800. So then it's about 300-ish for the bourbons. Right.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Hey, you're the accountant.
Well, yeah, if you're out of the butts, you're going to get 500 to 600 depending on how. Yeah, so estimating, yes, that is correct.
So you lost me on that. So do they mix it or
Yeah,
what?
so this is a marriage of casks. At the
Got it.
distillery. So it's still a single malt because it's all done at the same distillery, remember? But it's 8 different casks that were used to make up this blend, and bottled for Feis Ile.
You call them small batch basically, as opposed to like a single barrel.
Yeah, these aren't single barrel. There's multiple barrels used in this.
Okay.
And 2 sherry, 6 bourbon.
Correct.
It's tasty.
Yeah, I would love this whiskey at $100. I don't know that I love it at the even though we got it at was
Even 150, because that's what something like this would go for. I would say is still okay, but yeah, not much more than that.
And it doesn't have the same kick that the Caol. It has a little bit of kick on the finish for me, but not as big of a kick as that Caol Ile did. I don't think.
Yeah, the Caol Ile was sharper.
And this fades faster on the finish. But I would actually have if someone was not a big peat fan, I think out of what we've drank today, I might give them this to try.
Do you think this is less peaty?
You like this?
More fruity?
I like it, but the Caol is like.
It is well, we know it's only 20 ppm because it's 100% Islay. So we know it's a lower ppm for sure.
Yeah, you're right. This is more fruit and even more sweet and less peat, right?
I would agree. I would agree with that.
There we go.
So Bino, how would you distinguish between the peat and the smoke on this dram?
On this dram?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like I wouldn't say anything we've had so far really qualifies as what I would, qualify smoke. And definitely the Rock'ndaal, the Caol Ile, and this don't have any smoke to me. I don't know if anyone disagrees. I mean, the closest to smoke I would say is the Ardbeg, but that's still not really even smoke because that's more ash. And I mean, most of the time I don't really get smoke except out of Laphroaig and sometimes Lagavulin. Those are the only 2 where I would say I usually get what I would characterize more as smoky notes. But I mean, to me, they're very distinct. And again, if you look at it, there are different phenol compounds that you can actually identify that are present in each of those that, definitely, if you're thinking you taste smoke, like Caol or, certain other phenol compounds that are present in Laphroaig and probably in the Ardbeg that are not present typically in Caol Ile or Kilchoman or, Bruichladdich or Charlotte or Octomore.
Would you call Talisker smoky?
No,
No.
at least not the ones I've had.
Nando, you said you thought the finish on this one faded faster than on the Caol Ile?
Yeah.
To me, I think this is the longest finish of all the ones we've tasted so far.
Interesting.
I would agree with you, Beth. This is far longer than the Caol Ile.
The one thing I'd noticed on this though too is that each pour is actually fairly light. Light in terms of color. So they're almost about the same. So again, I'm trying to distinguish obviously taste and everything else, but it's interesting. They almost look about the same.
Yeah, almost all of these are predominantly American oak or bourbon barrels. So that's probably why. The Caol Ile has a little bit of Amoroso, but it's only finished in Amoroso. It's not full term. So none of these, outside of the Bunnahabhain, I would expect maybe a little more color out of, but the rest of these are
actually the Ardbeg has the most color from the ones I can see.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying out of what it was aged in, like what I would expect to see. But
Yeah, because the last tasting that we did for the Irish whiskeys, I mean, there was a big difference too, and some of them were really dark.
Yeah, well,
but
yeah, we did that Bushmills that was full term matured in a PX cast. So yeah, that one was dark.
There you go.
For sure. And none of these distilleries use caramel E50, E150. So so they're not unnaturally, there's no Bowmores in here. So Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that on camera. Fuck.
Whatever. Everyone knows.
Hey,
But anyways, so these are all natural. Kilchoman like lives and dies on that. You know, they tell everyone that they would never use Caramel 150 or never chill filter their whiskeys. So what comes out of the barrel is what you get.
nice.
Well, until management changes, because then you can never tell.
That's my favorite of the so far.
Ah, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got one left. Should we?
Yep.
Laphroaig, the smoke show.
Oh gosh.
No. It's a Cairdeas, so it's not core range, so it's going to be different.
Correct. I remember really liking this one, so I'm hoping we all enjoy this today.
I might really love this one too. I probably still have 8 to 10 back of it. I love this one.
You say 8 to 10 backups?
Wow.
I love this one a lot.
8 to 10 bottles.
You're starting to sound like Benno, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, if he liked it, he should have at least bought a case. He probably bought 2 cases, it sounds like, right? And he's drank a couple.
I've probably been through like 4 or 5 bottles of this over the years. So yeah, I like it.
Oh yeah, that's really good. This is a really easy drinking Laphroaig. Or also, my palate may be kind of screwed at this point.
Well, and again, and remember, screwed actually means that if you've got enough whiskey beforehand, you can taste more stuff on it that's not alcohol, right?
True.
Really?
I'm a super taster now.
Yeah.
Doesn't the alcohol deaden your palate a little though?
It generally deadens my palate to the alcohol in the whiskey, but not other flavors.
It's kind of like putting water in your whiskey. Not a lot, Nando. Just a little bit, just a drop. Don't get pissed off.
I know.
Because this is ridiculously easy drinking.
Okay, I thank God I'm not the only one. I was like, I drink a lot of this.
It's just like super clean. I think it's everything that I like about a good Laphroaig. Yeah, it's just delicious. It's got I really like kind of that like background salinity brininess to it that kind of just rounds it out. Like it's almost like a savory dram. But I don't know. I love this. It's probably my favorite of the night so far.
I think the brand is. I don't know that Cairdeas quite falls in that band, but I'm really curious what Andy tastes given her comment. So Nando, why don't you mute so she can talk?
Very briny. When you said briny, I immediately that resonated with me. I've hated Laphroaig. I just put in the chat. It was one of the first whiskeys I drank neat. Hated it. Absolutely.
Was that the 10?
Any Laphroaig I had, I was like, no, hate whiskey.
Was that the 10?
This is not bad. It is briny, but it's soft. It's not like aggressive. It's, I don't know if that's the right.
No, it was that 10 that you had, you tasted it the first time?
The what?
100% guaranteed.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just leather saddle to me, and like I was licking a horse saddle the first time I had Laphroaig, so I didn't like it from that point forward.
Well, the 100% floor malted barley is going to make this a lot softer on the nose and palate than a lot of Laphroaigs.
I do like this actually.
Oh, is that what's in it, Kyle?
Yeah.
Barley. That's why.
100% floor malted.
Yeah. So I'm going to get to that. Thank you, Kyle.
That is nice.
So correct. So just to give you the stats on this one real quick. So for those of you that don't know, Cairdeas means friendship in Gaelic. And they bottle this annually as their fish bottling.
And I mean, it's called the Friends of Laphroaig, so
correct. And they have the Friends of Laphroaig that you can sign up, and you can get your 1 square inch of Islay if you sign up. So okay, so this one is 100% floor malts. Let me back up. This was released in 2015. This is the oldest of all of the Feis Ile bottlings that we're doing today. It was it was to celebrate the 200th anniversary of Laphroaig. 100% floor malted barley from the distillery's own malting floor. This was done with a couple different stills, actually. It wasn't a single still that this came from. Also, this is matured in ex-bourbon casks, somewhere around 11 to 12 years. They didn't say exactly how old this was, so we don't know. This was John Campbell's kind of vision of what Laphroaig would have originally tasted like back in 1815. So that's what they were going for. I think probably most of us can agree this is a winner of tonight. Not the winner, but a winner for sure. I really like that. I think that's very enjoyable.
Well,
I'm sticking with the Kilchoman. This one is
Yeah.
not comic for me.
so for me, again, remember my palate, I'm sensitive to bitterness. I pick up a little of that on this, not a lot, not as much as the Ardbeg. But so, like John said, I would rate it below the Caol Ile, the Rock'ndaal, or the Kilchoman that we had, right? It's good, but I mean, if I'm like, I want a good Laphroaig, I'll go for this right over a 10 or something else, because it's definitely still Laphroaig. You can tell it's Laphroaig, I think, because of that bitterness, which I would kind of associate, to your point, John, with smoke. Like this is where I taste a little bit of it, but not a lot. Not like a 10 or something, which is why I think Andy likes it. Right.
And I'm gonna just real quick, I'm gonna say goodbye to everyone that's watching on YouTube or catching up there.